What is going on, guys? This is Miasin and welcome to OCG Metagame Breakdown number 4. This one's really interesting because it includes all the newer support that we got from Legacy of Destruction, of course. The newer core set in the TCG because, in the OCG. In the TCG, we're always one set behind. We are about to get Phantom Nightmare and they just got Legacy of Destruction. It's a really cool set that has the new Lightsworn support, the new Rika cards, the new Yubel support, and also, there's also some new staples there. And I'm sure in the TCG it's going to be even more interesting because of the TCG exclusives. 92 top performing decks from being included here because we're excluding every tournament that is not allowing Legacy of Destruction. So that's the reason why this breakdown is somewhat small. But I will be going into detail still because there are a lot of things to cover here. Anyways, before we proceed any further, I would really appreciate if you could smash the like and subscribe button for me real quick. Really helps me out a lot and motivates me to keep making videos like these. And also huge shoutouts to my team, Inspire TCG. Please subscribe to them in the description box below. And also huge shoutouts to my sponsor, Dueling. Use the coupon code YES656 for 5% off. I almost messed up the name of my own channel, and now let's get right into it. Alrighty, so the best deck at the moment is Farking still at 27.2%, which is much lower than last time when it was at 36.8%. And the second best deck is Silent Forcer or Voiceless Voice with 18.5%. So it's actually like neck and neck with Farking because again, it used to be like a massacre. It was like 4 times better than the second best deck. So Farking is doing a little less good, but not really, actually. And is Silent Forcer that much better? Maybe yes, maybe no. Again, it's a philosophical question. Oh my god, how do you even pronounce that word? But yeah, it's a complicated subject that requires a lot of deep diving. But yeah, Silent Forcer still a very nice deck with a new support that, of course, is included in this breakdown. After that, we got Despia, which is always doing really well. Chimera, for some reason. No, actually, the new Illusion support is not too bad. They got more consistent. But that's about it, honestly. You still lose to Ash on Mirror Swords Night if you have to rely on Mirror Swords Night. And you lose to Drool maybe even more because we got more search cards now. And the new level 6 Apprentice Illusion Magician or something. Yeah, it searches like an illusion monster on summon, so it's a cool consistency booster, but honestly the deck was already consistent before. Sky Striker with the new support, that's also very interesting, even though the deck is not like insane, but ironically the Farking matchup is not too bad. Because it can play a bunch of Shark Cannons, obviously. Yeah, some other cards that are good. Yeah, it's really just Shark Cannon. We've got a TCG exclusive that's gonna make Flunderies better in the TCG, but in the OCG they're not getting that. It's like Swallow's Cowrie. It's just like extra copies of Advent, the quick play spell card, that where like you banish a Flunderies card or something, and then you get to search a Flunderies monster. Something like that, or maybe you have to banish a Winged Beast. And here, with a new TCG exclusive, you tribute a Winged Beast, and then you search a Winged Beast with the same level. So you can't tribute like a big boy in order to search a little guy. That just doesn't work. You're gonna have to search, like, you're gonna have to tribute like one of your, I don't know, like your Eaglin to search a Robina or something like that. Anyways, Ice Barrier, yeah, okay, very good deck, but it should be doing better. Labyrinth, decent as well. Melodious, I was expecting this deck to be much better, so that's another one of the decks from Legacy of Destruction. Seeing only 2 Melodious is extremely disappointing because the deck is insane. It can play so many hand traps and it has a bunch of 1-card starters or 2-card combos. So yeah, I'm extremely disappointed to see only 2 Melodious and then 2 Salamangreat, decent deck. 2 Snake Eye, this makes 0 sense. Like absolutely 0 sense because it used to be like, again, neck and neck with Farking, and now it's like, bro, like Unchained is doing just as good. Like this is completely stupid. 10 by Dragon, this is the OTK deck. I actually had the pleasure of playing against this online, and it's such a scam deck because you just play like 25 board breakers, and the only way you win with 10 by Dragon is, first of all, if you're going second. So if someone forces you to go first, you lose by default because the deck doesn't make negates. It makes like Hieratic Seal maybe, and that's it. And you also need to draw a perfect combination of like 4 to 6 cards in order to win going second. Because you got a lot of 1-card OTKs, you don't necessarily play through interruptions. So you need to like, you do need like some board breakers in order to facilitate that. I mean, it is what it is. Maybe hand traps are another way, but board breakers in that deck are very good. And this deck can OTK through like massive boards, like for sure. Like again, 1 card is all it takes, so it's pretty nice. But again, only going second, going first, this deck is dookie. It is Unchained, okay, yeah. Yubel, yeah, again, another very interesting deck. It's nice to see Yubel doing well, but the new support is just nuts. Infernal Grave Squirmer and the Field Spell, yes, 2 very good cards. I don't know about the Sacred Beast cards. I think I would be playing the deck without, but yeah, with the Unchained engine, it's insane. Anyways, Fiend Link. Yeah, I mean, it's basically a combination of like Dark Beckoning Beast or like some Yubel cards. I don't even know what this is. Like, it's an Unchained Yubel deck-ish, kind of. But There's no Yubel, there's only Infernal Grave Squirmer. Anyways, Lawnmowing, Dragon Link, Eldritch, a lot of Lawnmowing decks, okay. Infernoid, Adventurous Synchron, blah, blah, blah. Horus something, a lot of Horus again, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, okay. Wow, this is also very disappointing. So, I didn't make a video on Raika because it clearly looked like it was complete and utter garbage on its own. So, it's more of like an engine, like, not really like Tri-Brigade because you can kind of play pure Tri-Brigade, but it's something that you splash in other decks in order to make them better, just like kind of like the Horus engine in a way. But it only works with like plants, insects, and I forgot the third type, but it's a little similar to Tri-Brigade, but I want to say worse if you want to play it as a pure cohesive deck. But yeah, with Sanavalon Rika, I was kind of just expecting it to be like very good. But no, apparently not. But to be fair, it does look very complicated to play, so maybe this is just because it's like the very beginning. Anyways, I don't really care about the other decks. Let's get into Farking now. Alright, so people are respecting the Silent Enforcer deck more and more, and one great way to punish Diviner of the Herald is with DD Crow. Now, you would want to believe that Bestials are just as good as DD Crow to be the deck, but, well, first of all, why is there only one DD Crow when it's not even searchable? My brain is bleeding. Yeah, as I was saying, you would want to believe that Bestials are just as good as DD Crow against the Silent Enforcer deck, but that would be incorrect, because if your opponent goes normal summon Diviner effect, and then send Trias Hierarchia, he goes like tribute the Diviner for cost to summon the Hierarchia, you can DD Crow the Diviner so that it doesn't get the effect of special summon the Novox, but you can't hit them with a Bestial because they have to tribute the Diviner for cost for the Trias. The Trias is not on the field yet, and the Bestials are only treated as quick effects when your opponent controls a monster. So in other words, since your opponent controls no monsters, and that's always going to be the case if your opponent leads with normal summon Diviner effect, Bestial monsters are usually not too great against Silent Enforcer, at least good Silent Enforcer players. With that said, if your opponent is stupid and goes into like Fenrir and then normal summon Diviner, then this is where it gets really punishing. And even the Nadir Servant package loses really hard to DD Crow because your opponent goes like Nadir Servant, send the Garura, and then draw one card and then search Maximus. You can just preemptively DD Crow the Garura. If your opponent wasn't super smart and didn't go for the Tri-Brigade in order to send the Garura, then you can hard punish there because some people are not playing that card since they're not playing Shareg so that they can search the one of DD Crow. That's the reason why I made this observation. One DD Crow can make sense when you have ways of searching it, so either with a rank 1 Lyrilusk monster, Recital Starling, I believe, or with the Nadir Servant package. So again, you banish one of your Tri-Brigade monsters. Well, I mean, either the Garura or the Tri-Brigade Link 5 for the Maximus, and then you send the Shareg from the extra deck to the grave, and then you search a level 1 Winged Beast monster from your deck because you do have one BBW in your banished. Again, BBW means Beast, Beast or Winged Beast. Yeah, big shoutouts to the Kali effect. But yeah, this deck is very standard. I mean, there is nothing interesting here. I am shocked to see a lot of diversity in the Farking spell cards, so one Sanctuary, one Island, one Skyburn. The Farking cards are just so incredibly bad that we're getting to the point where some people are going like strict minimalistic with like 0 Sanctuary, 0 Skyburn, 0 Circle, and then only one Island. Because again, the Farking cards are not the way you break boards, really. Farking Avatar Kirin is like the least crappy card because it's not even that it's a good card to draw, it's just that if you already have your combo, then Kirin is a good card to just make you even safer through stuff because you can dodge like Imperm and Valor on your Snake Eye Ash, for example, or in case like your opponent goes like DD Crow, your Promethean Princess, or like, I mean, or like maybe Ghost Bellet, then you can still proactively trigger your Garunix by going Kirin destroy the Amblo Whale. That stems from a one-card combo, but the Kirin is not guaranteed because people are deviating completely from the old combos that I used to show. That's why I might have to make like an updated Farking video very soon. Yeah, very painful deck to have to deal with because there's just so many options. The deck is so explosive, and again, it's basically just because of the Snake Eye cards. These cards are unfair. Also, obviously, kind of shocked to see only one Diabel Star, but it does make sense. And Diabel Star is still like a semi one-card combo when you are playing Sanctuary. When you're not, it is not. So keep that in mind. Then you would just basically become like a, I don't know, like a Snake Eye combo at this point, but not really, you know, Farking. It still leads to like a minimum of 3 interruptions, which is not too bad. But again, if you're playing Farking cards, then the ceiling increases dramatically because your original Sinful Spell Snake Eye, instead of, you know, summoning like a Snake Eye monster as an extender, you are summoning Ponix. And if you have to lead with Diabel Star, then you're summoning the Ash and then Surge the Ponix, and then you play from there. So Sanctuary isn't really seen as a second copy of Farking Island, but rather just a card that you can send with your Snake Eye monsters for free in order to transform them into the bigger Snake Eyes. So in other words, people are almost never ending on Farking Sanctuary on the field unless their one-card combo is Snake Eye Ash or Bonfire. So keep that in mind because people are playing more and more into Duster and Lightning Storm, although I will say this is somewhat irrelevant because people are still afraid of Anti-Spell. Even though people are now choosing to go a Solemn Strike, you might as well just play Cosmic Cyclone in order to banish the Farking Island. I just hope everything that I just said is clear. But if you still have questions, please let me know in the comment section. Now, speaking of questions, I'm still very much confused to seeing Gamma and Delta in the side deck. Obviously, Gamma can make sense because it's a good card, but Delta doesn't really negate anything. You're never trying to Delta a Bonfire. That's dog shit because if your opponent has a second Bonfire, you lose. Same thing with like Deltaing a Wanted. It's really bad. Like it's a bait the majority of the time, but it's not even like a real card. Like, it doesn't matter if this card resolves or not. Like, searching a Diabellstar when you have, like, 25 ways of getting your stuff going is bad. And also, holding your Gamma for too long is really bad because... sorry, your Delta for too long. Because people can rush Appaloosa and then cook you big time. So, yeah, no bueno. Anyway, Solemn Strike again over Anti-Spell in the side deck. Solemn Strike is just a very good card in the simplified game state. And it can negate hand traps and stuff like that. And it trades really well with Snake Eye Ash, whereas Anti-Spell is good when your opponent opens those like spell heavy hands, but then it loses really hard to like people who just draw a bunch of hand traps and a bunch of quick play spell cards and hard draw Snake Eye Ash. Then your anti-spell is going to be very, very bad. The Silent Forcer deck is very interesting, so there's a lot of text here. It looks really intimidating, but honestly, the only thing it really covers is the inclusion of the new continuous spell card in the deck, which is, I believe, Blessing of the Voiceless Voice. So this card is worse than Silent Forcing Barrier, or Voiceless Voice Barrier, which searches like any Voiceless Voice card from your deck to your hand. I can't pronounce Voiceless Voice, it's just so annoying. It's like a tongue twister almost. Silent Forcer just feels like way more natural for me, and I don't care if people correct me on the translations and stuff, but yeah, it allows you to recycle back from your graveyard or banish, like any of your Silent Forcer card. So it gives you an infinite grind game, and it makes it so that your authority, your trap card, the one that has to send itself in order to destroy a bunch of cards your opponent controls, you can loop it again and again and again. So you never run out of gas. You can recycle back your banished ritual spell, so even if your opponent like shifters you, and you eventually run out of gas, at least with the continuous spell, the blessing, you can recycle them back and you can always keep playing the game. And also it has another effect where if a non-ritual monster is summoned, normal or special, on either player's turn, I believe, you can immediately conduct a ritual summon. So there is a combo just with Novox and Skull Guardian where you can set up a double ritual summon play of Skull Guardian and Seravis on your opponent's turn. And then you are also summoning back your Novox on the opponent's turn, which gets you the trap card, which also gets you to pop 2 cards on your opponent's field. So that's an Omni Negate, double pop, and a Solemn Warning because of Seravis. Yes, it is an interruption, it's not just a call by the grave. So yeah, very good inclusion, but there is something interesting about this deck. Like, you would want to believe that because of the fact that it's at 18.5% and very close to Farking, that it's randomly better or almost as good as Farking, when in reality, that's just not really the case. Like, even players who are playing this deck are admitting that Farking is still better, but they're kind of getting a little tired of the deck and they want to just play something different for change, and this deck is very fun, especially if, again, you're not really used to it. It just feels different, right? You're ritual summoning. It's not like Drytron where you have to like hard combo every time. Like, you're applying so much pressure in like 2 or 3 summons max, which is just beautiful. Like, you can be under summon limit and just don't care. You can still summon like a 4100 attack beater that can't be targeted by card effects because of your barrier, and then your opponent can only attack it. So yeah, it's just the kind of deck that really allows you to outplay your opponents as well. But the deck does lack in removal. It doesn't really have the ability to like pick up like huge boards, and that's the reason why it prioritizes hand traps over board breakers, because once a board is established, there's very little that you can do about it, but you can at least prevent boards from happening in the first place if you are playing hand traps. And this deck also interacts really well with Nibiru because it is a light monster with a very high level that you can use to ritual summon your Skull Guardian, or I guess Seravis if you want to, but that's usually a losing play. Heavy Storm and Duster, that's very interesting. No Cosmic Cyclone, and Delta and Gamma again, which, I don't know, it just confuses me, but at least it's like somewhat decent against like Silent Forcing Barrier if you have to like negate the effect. I do believe Delta can also negate the effect, not just the activation. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, in conclusion, as you can see here, he basically explained that he still thinks that Farking is a stronger deck. He's just trying Silent Enforcer deck in order to familiarize himself with the gameplay, but he would definitely play Farking if he's trying to win. That's what Akira right here is saying. Big shoutouts to my boy, by the way. In other words, it's not that Silent Enforcer is better, it's just that the new support makes it very interesting, and if you want to be better against the deck, it's also a very good strategy to play with the deck. You don't have to like buy the deck in real life, obviously, if you want to do that, but you can at least play online with like all kinds of decks. That's what the pro players do. They playtest every single deck, they decide on one deck at the end. And yeah, again, Chimera got the boost from Nightmare Apprentice. That's why I said Apprentice, Illusion, Magician, but that's rather like the non-illusion monster, the one that searches your Dark Magician from the deck to the hand. This one searches like an illusion monster from deck to hand, so it's really nice. And then Melodious and Tenpai Dragon, the two new decks from the new set. Raika is also a new deck, quote unquote, but it's more of like an engine that's being splashed in Salavalon, Rika, and Traptrix. And then finally the Fiend cards that are being played in Yubel and Unchained, or just the Fiend Link deck, which is the deck that I showed you guys before. It's really confusing. And there's also a Lightsworn deck that I don't really understand too much. It's completely different from the Lightsworn list that I showed you guys. There's even like Lumina and, I mean, Sharon makes sense. The Ishizus, I guess, like, they're not bad. And then Danger Mothman with Gokipo, that's beautiful. Triglown, that's pretty cool. Solar Recharge, wow, that's a real actual Lightsworn deck. Yeah, no Bestials, no Horus. I don't know how I feel about that, though. The good news with this deck is that when you're going Minerva effect, you're basically always drawing cards because you're playing so many Lightsworn cards. Like, a huge amount, like a little too many, actually. Oh, sorry, there's another interesting thing. No Judgment Dragon, if I can see this correctly. This, I think, is Punishment Dragon. I can't really see too well. The card, like, either way, that card's better than Judgment Dragon because it's just easier to summon. You can go Minerva Synchro to banish 4 cards, and then you can easily summon it. No, it's a really nice breakdown, and I can't wait to see what else the new set has in stock for us. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts about the OCG metagame breakdown in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.